Hi everyone. It is currently below 7 minutes until State of the Game starts. Drew, hi.
Hello.
Wow.
You both just
Wow.
blew up everyone's ears.
I'm glad we did a sound check.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's all good. This is why we do it. Yeah, the microphone cannot handle Drew's voice, like my ears. You know? Sometimes I hear your voice and I'm like, I just can't deal with this. It's too nice. Too many frequencies.
Right.
But good. Can we just get a little bit more of you, Drew?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's good. I'm happy with that. All right, so we'll see you all in 6 minutes. Yay, fun. All right, bye. Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Game number 138 on the 23rd of October. My name is Hamish. I'll be hosting this thing today, but I have my buddy Drew here. How you doing, man?
Great.
Yeah, you're right?
Yeah, it's good to be here, man.
No,
It's been a while.
It has been a little while since we've had you on, but we wanted to kind of check back in with you around TU6.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be talking more about some of the things as it pertains to AI and some of the things you've been working on.
Yes.
We kind of just wanted to check back in with you, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, sounds good.
But before we get to that kind of stuff, I've kind of got to shut Drew up for a little bit. feels bad, but I just wanted to let people know that you're here. If you are new to the stream, we like to do a thing at the start of the whole show where we get to the priority alerts, so we can tell you exactly what's going on. And if you want to leave after that, totally cool. So let's get going with our priority alerts. Yeah. All right, you may notice my voice is a little hoarse today, but I'll try my best. I've been a little bit sick earlier in the week, so I wish this was medicine, but you know. George didn't hook that up today. It's fine.
Some purple,
Rude.
Purple drank.
Exactly. The Episode 2 main missions are now available for all players, so if you don't own the Year 1 pass, you can now get into those. That's the Pentagon, the HQ of the military forces in America, and they're abandoned shortly after the green poison outbreak. If you want to know more about all of that narrative side of things, the Pentagon and the DARPA research labs are now available to you. So go and check those out. For people, I feel like it's a bit of a meme to talk about Twitch Prime on Twitch, but did you know that Twitch Prime outfits availability comes to an end this week? You can currently claim all 4 in-game outfits if you do have Twitch Prime. So go and get those. And we actually have some of those to show. Do we have those in there? Mm-hmm. I don't have these. We don't have Amazon in Sweden. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you can get Twitch Prime, but, you know, unfortunately, I don't have it, so I don't have these outfits. But damn, those are really cool.
Those are cool.
Yeah, I'm sure I could get some people upstairs to maybe get those on my account. Maybe, you know who you are. I'll talk to you later. Last Friday, there was a maintenance, and there was a fix for a scripting crash in the base of operations that could block progression for some players. Also, discovery mode for the raid has been reactivated. The Eagle Bearer should no longer drop from this mode. So we've talked about that before. We don't ever intend, well, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but we don't intend for the Eagle Bearer to be dropped in the discovery mode of the raid. Kenley College now correctly requires all investigation areas to be completed before the Diamondback can be collected in the chapel. If you were lucky enough to get your hands on a Diamondback without having to do the whole thing,
Yeah.
I guess people get to keep it. Lucky
Yeah.
for some.
Good work.
Good work, agents. Thursday maintenance fixed an issue that prevented. So Thursday maintenance is tomorrow, because it's Wednesday today. Fixed an issue that prevented loadout swaps with specializations in certain circumstances. Fixed an issue that prevented interaction with the levers in the Kenley Metro. Fixed an issue that caused Dark Hours raid keys to drop in discovery difficulty. That makes sense. Fixed an issue that caused incorrect backpack trophies to drop in Tidal Basin on Heroic. We also fixed an issue that prevented the objective lightning round at stage 4 of the Technician's Special Field Research to trigger. I actually did see some people having issues with that. I haven't gotten to there myself, but hopefully this week on stream I can get up to that point. We fixed an issue as well, causing a colored rectangle to appear when opening apparel caches, and we removed a prematurely added blueprint from the crafting bench. The October 5th LMG was not meant to be there. We've been there before, though. I was just saying before the stream,
Yeah.
the MG5, I think in Division 1, was on the PTS, but it wasn't actually meant to be in the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess a sneak preview sometimes happens.
Yeah, maybe.
Unintentionally.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. We do have a known issues list that was updated last week. So the known issues for TU6 can be found on the forums. We do know that the DARPA Research Labs mission progress can reset if you are disconnected. You may get stuck in a loading loop trying to enter the dark zone as well from a checkpoint. Players can be unable to teleport to group members or inside the Pentagon. Your agent's primary weapon may become invisible, resulting in an animation bug and hit registration issues. If you do want to see this list, there is a forum post, and hopefully some of our mods can put that in chat. And you can go over and check those out, so you know exactly what's happening. But, Drew, you've been, keeping your eye on TU6.
Yeah.
Yeah? How are you feeling about how it's being received by people?
Yeah, like overall, it's we've been really happy to see the reception. So like we worked really hard on this. Like we really wanted to focus on quality.
Yeah.
And kind of basically taking one of the first steps in kind of a direction that we want to like continue moving in, right? Which is addressing some of the concerns with loot and loot quality and things like that, right? RNG,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I mean, there's obviously the targeted loot system as
Yep.
well. We've got all the new named items. We've got
Exactly.
the brand sets can now fit in more
And they
slots.
have all
those
slots,
sorts of things.
exactly.
It does feel similar to, actually, people might remember when we did the 1.4 streams and that sort of thing for the first
Yeah.
game. You were a big part of that.
Yeah.
Does it feel similar to you in terms of, I mean, it's different, but
Yeah.
the same in some ways.
Yeah, I think in some ways it does. I mean, personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm super excited to jump back in the game and play.
Yeah.
Right.
a good sign.
Which I think is always a good sign
Yeah.
if you're a developer and you're excited to play your own game, because I mean we're playing our own game all the time,
Sure.
and so usually the last thing you want to do in your free time is play your own game.
Yeah.
But after 1.6 came out, like it was super exciting to actually pick it up and play. So I think there's something to that, right? And I think that we're definitely on the right track now. Obviously there's still work to do, and there's still lots of cool stuff coming in the future. But for the time being, like I think we're happy with where we are today.
Yeah, it's definitely an awesome step. I know there's been a lot of awesome feedback from the community, so thank you, community, for being a part of this update as well.
Yeah, big time.
That doesn't mean that I'm not saying thank you just for the praise, which of course we love, but also thank you for all of the critical feedback.
Yeah, and getting us here, really.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Apparently some people in chat are saying, good job. Good job, Drew.
Oh, thanks.
You did it. I mean, not just you.
No.
But all of the
there
people.
were many people.
Many
involved with
people. It is,
Yes.
I like coming to work and feeling proud of what other people actually do.
Yeah.
I get to kind of latch onto it. It's nice. Because I didn't do anything. I didn't help. I'm just going to sit here and talk about it, which I love. Sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't help. But so, yeah.
You help relay
kudos.
the message, and you help.
Maybe. All right. Still not in the credits of the game, though. Do you know that?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something we could fix.
No. See, it's like kind of the hipster thing to be, man.
I see.
That's my whole goal.
Yeah.
Is like wait until like the future, and then put it in the patch notes. Like we finally did it.
That's a great idea.
No, but it doesn't. Anyway, yeah. Again, thank you, community, for being an awesome part of T6. Like you said before, even though we aren't talking about future content and future updates and that sort of thing, we aren't going anywhere.
Right.
So one would assume that from that, there's more coming.
Yeah, I mean,
If you have logic on your side, then I think it's pretty fair to assume that there's more coming. So you're still working
Absolutely.
on things that we'll be able to talk about soon. And
absolutely, and kind of as I was saying before, like this isn't where we are right now. Isn't where we want to stop, right?
Sure.
This is just step one.
because you also may have noticed, if we've shown you a lower third, you're now the associate game director on the Division 2.
Correct.
Congratulations. That's cool.
Thanks.
That's good. I think that's super good news, because I know that you have a real big passion for this game.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You want to see it.
Yeah.
Fly. Yeah. Does it
Absolutely.
feel similar? You're a recent father.
Yes.
I was almost going to ask if you love the Division like you love your child, but I'm not a father, so I have no idea if that's how it works.
I think maybe parents on the stream can maybe relate to how I feel about answering that question, but
It clearly goes to show that I'm not a dad.
well, okay, but let's stay with there for a second. Right?
Okay.
The process of making a video game is a really long process, right? And it involves a ton of people and a ton of effort. Okay, so being a dad, maybe not so much beforehand, but afterwards, right? And so when you do release it, a game out to the public, and you through the course of a live game, you refine it, and you get feedback and stuff like that. Like, you do grow this kind of attachment to it, which is not unlike being a parent.
I'm glad we're
so
not-
there we go.
I'm happy that we didn't back down from that train wreck of analogy. All right. Okay, there's a couple of things before we get into the kind of talking a bit more about what you've been working on that we wanted to give a shout out to a really a couple of really, really cool community things that have been happening. You probably will have seen them. I'm getting. All right, I can keep bullshitting like the best of them. Don't worry about it. But if you've been playing The Division and you're active in the community, you will have seen a couple of really cool websites that have been used by people, and hopefully I can talk about them really soon. I personally use them when I'm like, you know how The Division's really complicated, and it's like,
I do.
What do I do? what do I do to build my my loadout? And there's a lot to kind of take into consideration.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier for me to just see what smart people do.
Yeah.
And get their builds. And basically, I kind of write myself a shopping list of stuff that I need to fulfill my build.
Yeah.
In comes thedivisionbuilder.com. No, but this is really cool. And wanted to let you know that we see what you've done with thedivisionbuilder.com. That, I wrote it on my hand. That's done by SysOp. So SysOp, if you are here, then awesome work on the website. I think we actually have some footage of the website. If you haven't been using thedivisionbuilder.com,
it's so good.
It's super, super good. Just from being able to kind of maybe see some things that other people have made. You know, if there's some wacky builds out there that you want to try. But especially useful if you're kind of like a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
You know, like what do I need? What's better for my build?
Right.
Really cool. I love it. And also in terms of building stuff, it's really easy.
No, it's a great interface. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing is really well done.
I mean, you can also use it while you're at work. I'm just saying. So I know like you can't play The Division while you're at work, but maybe you just want to theory craft and be like, I kind of want to see what I could use in these slots and that sort of thing. I like it. So SysOp, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I also wanted to give a shout out to Ruben Alamina, who runs a website that basically collects all of the Division Weekly Reset information and puts it all in one place. Again, although you should probably do your job while you're at work, you can, look, in all honesty, hands up in chat if you are watching this while you're at work. Like, okay, yeah. All right, come on. Be honest. We won't tell. But Ruben Alamina's website, if we can just take a quick look at what that looks like, is super, super cool.
A lot of yes in chat.
Yes, right? All right, don't get back to work. You can get back to work in 28 minutes. But the weekly vendor reset, super, super cool. You can kind of just check, like, again, the whole shopping list idea.
Yeah.
I love.
That's great.
Because while, you know, usually you can check Reddit, and if something like God Roll pops up, you'll usually see a post like, go and get these 13% gloves. You can do that, but maybe there's something more niche that you want. Niche? Americans say niche, right?
I don't know. I think maybe if they do it when they want to be incorrect. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, so Ruben and SysOp, thank you very, very much for what you do in our community. It is much appreciated and super useful. So I hope people are using those. Mods, if you have links that you can send to those in chat, please do so, because they're really cool. Now, we can actually head over to the interview portion of the show. So let's get going with our developer interview.
Right.
And I can rest my voice a little bit. Oh my God. Yes, hi Drew.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
This has been a fun stream already, so thank you very much for
Yeah, man, it's great to be here.
dropping by. I actually do not recall when you were on the stream last.
Man, it had to have been.
Was it before the launch?
Yeah, or right after, maybe.
It was the special report before the
Was
launch.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It has been, so welcome back.
Yeah, thanks.
For people who have never, because I mean, we had a free weekend recently, it's fair to assume
Yeah.
that there might be some new people in the stream.
Yeah,
Hi.
if so.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, welcome to the Division community. We don't often go as loose with our terrible analogies, but we mostly do, and I'm lying. But for those people, for the new people, what's your history been with Massive? How long have you been here? What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been with Massive for almost 6 years now. So I started with Division 1. So I was primarily focused on AI and just PvE combat in general. But I also, some people might remember, I worked a bit with with the world tier system in 1.4 and some other things that we did then in 1.4.
All the hunter stuff?
Yeah, the hunters and the hunter AI, legendary difficulty, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so Div 1, I joined actually right after E3 2013. Like that was I saw that and I had applied to Massive like right after.
Yeah.
Because that just blew me away.
Yeah.
And then, right, so I was a lead AI designer on Division 2 and did similar things. So kind of designed and implemented the behaviors for all the AI in Division 2, or at least the combat AI, and did a lot of different kind of PvE combat things. Yeah,
Right.
and that stuff.
So now with TU6, you've been focusing on a few different things.
Yes.
I mean, those things you were focusing on months ago because they had to be in the PTS. They had to, like,
exactly.
So we're going back a little bit in time
Yeah.
as to when your brain was ticking over these things.
Exactly.
But when you sat down to think about what you can do with TU6, particularly in terms of, I know the difficulty rebalancing was one of the things that you wanted to achieve.
Yeah, that was one of the big things.
What was going on there?
Yeah. So kind of the general idea was that when you were kind of playing like pre 1.6 in difficulty, the difficulty became a little unbalanced as you climbed from hard to challenge and challenge to heroic, right? And that was mostly because the bullet damage would continuously go up, but the explosion damage wouldn't. So that would really change the way that you played, right? Because explosions in general are really key to our combat and what we think makes for a fun combat experience, right? Throwers are there mechanically to basically get you to leave your cover, right? And then if you get someone like a sniper, their goal is to punish players being out of cover. So if you pair those two together, that's a synergy and it creates, hopefully, an interesting puzzle for the player, right? Like, how do they deal with that situation? When that explosion component is kind of taken away, and a lot of players, right, we would see them eat grenades instead of trying to dodge out of the way. They would just kind of take it and, you know, no big deal. It wouldn't take that much of their armor or whatever. So when that's taken away, we kind of ruin that synergy, and all of a sudden it kind of completely changes the way you play, but I think in kind of a less interesting way. So that's kind of the problem that we really wanted to solve, right? Secondarily, the other thing was kind of the time to kill, especially when you got into heroic. It was maybe bordering on, if you built really well, like it still felt, I think, pretty good and snappy. But you know, if you hadn't completely optimized your build and things like that, which, you know, is kind of where we maybe you shouldn't be playing heroic. I don't know, but you're really skilled, maybe. So you can do it. Then those time to kill, like the time became maybe a little bit too long. It felt maybe a little spongy, things like that. And also you were getting killed really quickly. So the ultimate goal, right, was to say, hey, we have this explosion damage that's down here. The bullet damage is up here. What if we bring that explosion damage up here, but then globally we move that down a little bit?
Okay.
Right? So we bring them on par with each other, where they're supposed to be, really. But then we say, hey, let's also, because we're essentially making the game more difficult, after we do that, let's lower time to kill so it can be a little bit more snappy, and let's make sure that the enemies don't kill you quite as quick overall.
Okay.
Right?
And what is the result of that been, do you think? Because when you're going through that, you must obviously look at a lot of data and these sorts of things. What kind of things are you looking at to kind of evaluate if that's working?
Yeah, so you know, internally and also using things like the PTS, we looked a lot at completion time, completion rate, downs, deaths, kind of all of those different statistics, right, to see if we're similar to kind of where we were before. And looking at the data, like, we are. So that's good. But if overall difficulty kind of remains the same, which was the goal, then what we're really asking you to do is kind of rethink how you play those harder difficulties, right? We're asking you to say, like, well, maybe you use a different strategy than you've been using, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've seen since TU6 has been out, obviously when changes happen, it can be a little bit of an adjustment. Like,
Absolutely.
right? And people can be like, oh, this feels different, and maybe there's a bit of a negative reaction.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty human, right?
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, I mean, this was something that we kicked around a lot internally. Like, do we want to make this change? And what it came down to is we, the team, believed that this was best for the game, that this was the most fun experience. We play tested it, and we said, you know what? This is actually just more fun, we think. So we believe in this. We think we should do this.
Yeah, I think I've seen from, I guess, just anecdotally reading a lot of what's been happening on the forums and on Reddit. You've seen that initial reaction being like, I don't like it, and then people are like, okay, I get it, like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Chat, I mean, we haven't figured out how to do Twitch polls yet, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, let us know, because I think it would be a really cool conversation to have,
absolutely.
because sometimes you have to trust your gut as a game designer.
Yeah.
You know, based on experience. Like, you've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear.
But I was going to say, and it's also something that, obviously it is a relatively new adjustment, so it's entirely possible that maybe we didn't get it right, and maybe now that the floodgates have opened and everyone is having experience with it, and after a few weeks people say, you know what, maybe this is still a little bit too high or whatever, and we can adjust it.
Because like you say, it does change the way people have to play.
Yeah.
Someone says they're okay with it, that's cool. I'm glad.
Cool.
All right, I'll take that upstairs and say, Twitch chat said it's fine, so that's cool. All right, so there's been discussions about the way, I mean, we had some things with NPC AI, which was a bug at the time, about how they would just rush you. Right?
Yeah, right.
There's been some things you've been working on that address the way NPCs think about starting an encounter. It's not a bug, but there's been some changes you've made.
Yeah.
What was happening before 1.6, and what have you done now?
Right. So to give a little context as to why we did this. So in Division 1, NPCs a lot of times would kind of enter combat, guns blazing and things like that, right? And they would just immediately start firing as they entered combat. That kind of gave the perception they weren't very protective of their lives, because they were super aggressive from the start, right? And that was something that we really identified, especially with our work with hunters and things like that, that like, hey, actually, this is not the best way to approach this. And really, our AI should be a bit more intelligent entering combat. So with Division 2, our AI would always search for cover first thing, right? They would sprint to cover as soon as any gunfire would happen or something like that to make sure that it looks like they're protective of their lives, but also tactically it makes a lot of sense, right? And then if they have a heavy weapons in their fire team, that heavy weapons would lay down cover fire and continuously suppress while his allies would get into cover. But if there wasn't a heavy weapons, which a lot of times there's not, right, you'd see the NPCs kind of run, and depending on the mission or maybe the part in the world, maybe those NPCs would be running, 30 meters or more. And that looks a little bit strange if they're just kind of sprinting, and, and you don't get that signaling either as a player to say, hey, there's enemies here. Like, yes, you have the mini-map and you have your HUD that pops up and it tells you you're in combat and your character actually goes down and stuff like that, but sometimes a bullet whizzing by is actually the best indicator that you're in combat, right? So, so making the change that NPCs now will basically, a couple will elect to lay down cover fire while they move into cover, so they won't be stationary. They'll kind of move while they do it, while the other ones rush into cover as quickly as they can. Okay. So you have a couple brave souls in the NPCs.
Sucks to be those guys. They basically
get mowed down by the agents, basically.
But they effectively would basically draw the short straw.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. The other thing that you mentioned before is the behavior of the big chungus dudes is a little bit different now than it was before TU6.
Yeah, that's right.
What's changed there?
Yeah. So one of the big changes we made to the tank archetypes, the heavies, right, was the way that they react to status effects. So crowd control, in particular, was really, really effective against tank NPCs. Probably too effective, right? And we've actually seen a lot of people talk about, hey, in Challenge and Heroic, like, tanks are a joke. Like, you just CCM, mow them down, like, no big deal. And really, like, tanks are supposed to be kind of focal points in battles. And so I think contextually as well, it didn't make sense that they would, you have these skinny little dudes next to them and they're like reacting the same way to being, hit with tear gas or fire or whatever. Like these are big, imposing guys that are completely covered with armor, right? Mm-hmm. So we looked at kind of each status effect, and basically they now react in a way that I think is more fitting for their kind of massive size and the intent for their gameplay, right? So when you set them on fire, for example, they're no longer going to flail their arms and stuff, right? They're just going to soldier on. They're still going to take damage, all of that stuff, but they're basically going to kind of shrug it off. Same thing with when they get shocked. Yeah, you'll get them down, but they're going to fight through it, and they're going to get through it a lot quicker.
Straight up honey badgers.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. Just like, I'm on fire.
Exactly, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that was kind of the general premise. And then you can also see with things like blind or confuse, which maybe this has already been discovered. I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere. But if you blind a tank that is using a melee weapon, right? So the outcast tank or the secret underground tank.
Spoilers.
If you blind them or confuse them, what they'll do is they'll remember where they last saw you, and they'll actually rush forward, or stumble forward actually, to where you last were, and like basically try to kind of swing around and hit where you used to be.
Okay.
So you can use that to your advantage, right? You can set up traps, you can put them through choke points. There's all sorts of kind of interesting ways, hopefully, to interact with that system if you know how to use it.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that logic.
Yeah, cool.
Very, very cool. And there's also been some small changes to player turrets.
Yes.
Because NPCs will view those differently now?
Yes, that's right. So previously, the assault turret, which I abused a lot as a player, I would just kind of set it up and just kind of hide and heal and do things like that. And the NPCs really didn't care much about it, right? They would continuously just kind of focus on you. And that had everything to do with the way that they perceive the turret. They perceive the turret as much less of a threat than a player, which, to be fair, is probably true in most cases. But what it meant was you could just kind of forget that your skill was there, and you could just play really passively and kind of take advantage of the fact that they weren't targeting that. So now, what happens is if you are really passive and you start hiding, the NPCs are going to start focusing your turret. So they will actively focus it a lot more than they used to.
Okay.
And so basically, if you are active and you're continuously playing, they're still going to focus on you, the player, and not your turret. But the minute that you begin to, basically try to exploit it and stuff, they're going to switch targets and they're going to focus on your turret. Which, of course, you can also use to your advantage, right? If you have a tank or an elite or something like that, and you really want them to focus on that thing for a little bit, you can maybe, go around to cover, use a high line of sight blocker, flank them, and hit them in that way.
Yeah, again, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
I do see some people in chat saying that they love the changes to heavies. Very cool.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
I need to kind of get back in and experience that myself. I'll be streaming next Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that. I do want to quickly say, Mixer, we do see you over there. Sorry, sometimes we focus on saying sometimes Twitch chat, but we have both chats up, so we're looking at both at the same time. We see you. Okay, that's kind of most of the big changes, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, there's a lot of bugs in it.
Yeah, and there were a lot of like little things with like the the mini tank. You would kill the controller, and it was just way too effective after you kill the controller, like its owner. And now it is way less accurate. It has a longer wind-up time after you kill the controller. And actually, I'm not sure if we put this in our patch notes or not, but friendly fire is actually turned on. So it can actually start shooting its own teammates if you kill its controller. Because it basically goes into super dumb fire mode. And you can set off weak points, and there's all sorts of chaos that you can create with it. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you have a few more minutes to stick around?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a couple of really cool agent highlights this week. So let's head over to agent highlights right now.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so we are full cosplay today. I do want to reiterate, though, that if you do have something you want to share with us, it doesn't have to be cosplay. Like, there are other things out there. We had a wedding cake, I think, a couple of weeks ago, or last week. There's been all sorts of stuff. But this week we do have a a couple of super, super cool cosplays. Let's take a look at the first one right now. Here we go. Yeah, Area the Fox, the Ryan cosplay.
Yeah.
Obviously on the left you can see, I think this is from the...
This is 2014.
This is the 2014
It's the-
CGI.
Yeah.
Made by Blur.
By Bro. Yeah, I was just going to say that. I'm like, I don't know, can we say that?
We can say that,
It's the
because
Blur
actually,
trailer. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Quick little Easter egg for you all. If you watch this trailer through again and you look at the beanie of the agent that he's wearing right there, I think it has BLR on it. I'm pretty sure. Please go back and check.
That's cool.
But yeah, I know I remember when we released that and I was, super into it. Anyway, so I still am. It's an
love that
awesome trailer.
It makes me emotional every time I watch it.
Yeah, me too. But this Ryan cosplay, super sick. So if you want to see more of that, there's actually some other pictures in this series from Area the Fox. So Area the Fox on Twitter, if you can go and check that out. I just love what our cosplay community does.
It's super good.
That's huge commitment. Some super serious
Yeah.
stuff.
The you can see like the weathering and stuff as well is like spot on.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
incredible.
time consuming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's incredible.
the attention to detail. Awesome. Can't wait to see more. We have another cosplay as well, and I don't think I've actually seen this one yet. I think, oh damn, drama.
Wow, look at that.
Drama. Unit Nations. That's insane. That is super, super cool.
That's cool.
I love it. I feel like something bad just happened. I don't know.
He's downed.
He's downed. Oh, is it just down. Yeah, just down. Someone revive Unit Nations, please. But over on Twitter as well, Unit Nations.
That's really
nice
good.
and easy to spell. So you have no excuse for not following. Go and do it. That's really cool. I love it. And it's obviously DC because there's rain.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I like it. Really, really cool. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
Drew.
it was great.
That was really fun. We'll have to get you back again
Yeah, absolutely.
really soon because like we
Happy to
said
do it.
before, there's of course more coming. Like we aren't going anywhere. There's a lot more. I mean, you still have a job to do, Drew. I'm sorry.
I do.
As
Yeah.
much as we'd love to let you go on
Just
infinite
go on a nice
vacation.
vacation. Yeah, it's go good.
Do you have any vacations booked? You're heading back home for
I am for
Christmas?
for Christmas,
Thanksgiving?
yeah.
That's
Not
a thing.
Thanksgiving. We do actually have a Thanksgiving for non-Americans.
Oh,
It's fun.
that's cute.
It's a great holiday.
Fun fact, Drew knows LeBron James.
Knows in the loosest sense, as in we're from the same hometown.
It's the same
And
thing,
I've
right?
seen him in person.
You've seen him in person? You basically know him.
But yeah, basically, I've never spoken to LeBron James.
What would you
but,
say?
Hey, what's up, man? Akron, pretty cool, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Solid. If anyone ever sees LeBron James, that's what you say.
Absolutely.
Akron's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can visit Akron, Ohio as well.
Yeah.
It's a good place.
We should partner with the Tourism Board of Akron.
Yeah, that's right. It's super good. Diamond Deli, Luigi's Pizza. I don't know.
There you go. All right. Thanks everyone for coming by today. As always, we are finishing the stream with some of the Division 2 photos. If you have any cool snaps you want to share with us from the Division 2's photo mode, use hashtag the Division 2 photos on Twitter or Instagram. We'll check those out and we'll put them in the show. Anyway, we'll see you all again next week for more of State of the Game stuff. And I promise it will be, I don't know, less rife with terrible analogy. Yay! See you next week.
See ya.